Hello everyone. I hope everyone is here and ready to paint. I am certainly ready to do some stuff, and I'm just looking for myself on my page so I can see comments here in a second. I hate how it takes, you have to refresh like 3 times for it to show up. So I always have to just keep scrolling and refreshing and keep scrolling and refreshing. And so it'll take a couple of minutes maybe for some people to come on anyway. Man, I'm glad I put titles on these, because otherwise I would just be stopping and be like, oh, there I am. So I hope everyone had a good day. I must still be catching up on sleep because I ended up napping again today on the couch, and I really didn't intend to, but I could feel my eyes going, and I could just feel that I was gonna be napping pretty soon, so I took a nap. Oh my goodness, come on. Our internet at our tiny house is not, I mean, we have our own box because the campground provides free internet, but it's really not, it's not fast enough even to like watch Netflix or anything. So we ended up getting just like a T-Mobile box, which is good. I mean, we can stream stuff. But when there's multiple things going, it does create a problem. So like when I'm going live, I won't even let my husband watch TV, or because I just don't want there to be any, am I even live? I guess I am, but it's taking forever for me to show up on my own page. But anyway, I won't let him watch TV. I won't let him, do anything where it's going to interfere with the internet, because I just know it's going to cause issues if there's multiple things going. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and start. It'll show up here in a minute, I'm sure. So tonight the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the, kind of noticed that it wasn't, I'm going to paint in the white over this gray, like we talked about. And that'll be our background for the flowers whenever we're ready to do that. So I'm going to get a pretty good amount of white and this brush and work on that. I hope there are plenty of people watching tonight, because I have 4 prizes again to give away, and I want there to be lots of participation. So hopefully there's lots of comments, lots of questions tonight while I'm painting, just so there's lots of chances to win. Like I said, these are nice prizes, I think. So let's see, I did a total refresh, so let's see if I showed up now. Oh, yay, there I am. So yeah, I hope there's plenty of people to watch tonight and plenty of people commenting, just so we have lots of opportunity for prizes. Because I have 12 people that paid to be in the workshop, but I've only had, I think 4 actually watching, which I know, I get that it's a bad, like yesterday was, a holiday. So I didn't necessarily think that through the best, but I knew what my launch date needed to be for my last day to fall on the 1st, which is what I wanted, because I wanted my payments to run on the 1st or around the 1st. So hi, Christina, my loyal friend. But yeah, I probably should not have picked Memorial Day as my first day, but oh well. The ones who wanted to be here were here, so, or the ones that didn't have something else going on. So I'm just painting over this gray. Like I said, if you put gray on first, it really does make your white pop a little more, instead of the white trying to cover up all of the the other colors underneath. So that's just a little trick that you can use when you have something white, or something that needs to be white, sorry. But you're fighting with dark colors underneath. Sometimes you can just do the white first and then paint around it. But since I was doing this crackle, I wanted the crackle to be, I didn't want to try to decide where the crackle should start and stop. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's why I did it this way. And I used to do this with stenciling too. Like, you paint a background and then you're trying to stencil words in white. And it just, you fight with covering up that darker color underneath. So I learned quickly that if you used a gray underneath, that the white then would really pop. So I would stencil the gray lettering first and then go back over it with white once that dried. So it was a busy weekend here where we are. I had the art show, of course, and then just being a holiday weekend, it was busy here at the campground. There was lots and lots of activity here, watching the campers go in and out. And so it's always interesting when you stay here all the time, you don't realize how the in and out is so busy. Especially, like Memorial Day weekend is super busy. Labor Day weekend's usually really busy because it's kind of the last hurrah before, school starts and those sorts of things. Do you find that shade of gray matters? No, it can be a light gray. I wouldn't, the gray I have is a little bit dark, but it covers fine. I think the one that I used to use, let me see which this one is. So this one's medium gray. I think the one I used to use was light gray in the folk art. But yeah, the shade of gray doesn't necessarily matter, Christina. It's just the gray helps kind of give you a kind of a blank slate per se, to cover up the darkness behind it. But yeah, it works for stenciling also. Well, that was fast. My husband was going to take my dog to the dog park and let her play ball. But they're already coming back, so she must have worn out quickly. That's her favorite thing to do. Like, if there's other dogs there, she will not pay attention to any other dogs. She just wants you to throw the ball. Like, come on, people. We're playing ball here. Just throw it. I'm not going to pay any attention to those other animals. So, yeah, he's already back. I probably will come back, not necessarily live, but I'll probably put another coat on this early in the morning just so it's a good crisp white coat before we start putting the flowers on. But I can do that when I'm not live because, I mean, once you've seen it, it's, you don't need to see it again, basically. Oh, I hear her getting a drink of water. She must have just worn out. He likes getting her wore out because then she'll sleep, take a nap on the couch. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. And we are ready to work on our leopard. I know you guys are excited about that. So I'm going to kind of flatten this out a little bit. So here's my leopard picture. I just found this on, I don't remember where I found it actually. I found it somewhere. And I love leopards. I love leopard print clothing. I love leopards. So cheetah, leopards, whatever. So I'm going to lay this on here. I got my tracing paper underneath. I am not going all the way to the bottom, so I'll explain that later. I do want to make sure my edge is lined up here. So then I'm just going to take my ink pen here and I'm going to trace the leopard. This one is very difficult to kind of see where you've traced and not traced, so I do have to probably lift the carbon paper pretty frequently to kind of see where I've where have I traced and where still needs to be traced. But where you see like the part of the leopard that would be like tannish yellow, that's going to be the background showing through, where we did all that fun layering of the background. Then the dark spots, you know, we'll paint those in, and that's what makes the leopard really pop, is painting in the dark spots. So, and since I've already traced this once, I should have just used like a red pen or something, but I didn't. After I told you guys that's what you should do, I didn't bring myself a red pen over here to kind of keep track of where I was, but that's okay. If I trace something more than once, that's okay. If I miss something, you know, I won't notice it because there's just so many spots. So this is kind of just the slow process of tracing, but it is easier to get like the image that you want without stressing over your drawing skills. I do this a lot, so even though I can draw, I don't stress about, you know, the image. If I want to trace it, I just trace it. And I also do custom pet portraits. And, you know, once I find the image of the pet that I want out of, you know, I usually have the owners send me a couple of different choices, just because some images are just too blurry or too busy and they just don't turn out good. But once I choose the one that I think is going to be the best, then I kind of run it through my filter, and then I trace it just to kind of capture the features of the dog the best. I'm thinking about also, you know, like I need something else to do, but I'm thinking about offering pet caricatures. I think that would be really fun to do. And I saw a class on them that I signed up for it. I'm going to do the class, but I don't know if I'll actually, it depends on how the class goes, whether I'll actually offer them as an option for my pet portraits. But it looks like a really fun class, so I'm kind of excited about that. And what else is going on? But yeah, now that I only work weekends, I have more time to kind of do some of those things that I wouldn't typically do, because I would work during the week, and then on the weekend I have so many things I want to try to do that it just would never get done. But now that I have my weekends, or my weekdays free, I have the time to kind of focus on some of those things. I know this this part is kind of boring for you guys, but I want you to see the process of this, just again, just so you don't have the anxiety about like joining the group thinking that you have to know how to draw. Like, you don't have to know how to draw at all. I always provide the tracer for whatever we're painting. If you want to draw it, you totally can. But just having that option to have that tracer, it kind of relieves a lot of anxiety for people who feel like they can't draw. So, because I always say you don't have to know how to draw to know how to paint, or to learn to paint. So offering tracers is a good way to kind of get around that. And oftentimes, like if I would have offered this one in one of the boxes, I would have created the tracer, not from this. I would have created the tracer then from my own painting, which is what I did with my first box that I did. Which I don't know if any of you saw me do the release of my first painting or not. I'm not going to really talk about it because there might be some people who don't want to know who plan to subscribe to the box. But it was an image from my own photograph that I took, so I'm super proud of it. I really loved how it turned out, and I can't wait to paint it with you guys. But even though it was my own photograph, when I went back and created the tracer, I created it from my own painting because then it just kind of matches up a little bit better, makes it look like it's the same image then. These little spots are what kind of take forever, but I'll be done in just a sec, so. Christina, I saw your Highland cow door hanger that you're doing. That's super cute. I do love Highland cows. They're so cute. I sold my last Highland cow painting this weekend. I had it for a couple of years, because, they were really super popular for a while, and they have been super popular still, but I think it kind of died down for a while. So I had this painting that I did after I sold another one, and I did this one, and then I just had it forever and ever, and I finally sold it this weekend, so I was happy to get rid of it because it was a larger painting. It was still one of my canvas paintings, which I don't even paint on canvas anymore, so I was just happy to get rid of it because those larger canvas paintings are really hard to store. Oh, she's panting hard. She played hard. I was just telling him you guys weren't gone very long, so she must have got worn out.
Yeah.
So anyway, I sold it. I was happy to get rid of it because those large canvas are just so hard to store because you're afraid that a hole will get poked in them, or the canvas kind of gets indentions in them after a while if you don't store them properly. So, but it was my last one that was on canvas. I donated a bunch of paintings on canvas that I had done that I hadn't sold, and my husband works at a local hospital here, and they also have a nursing home, so I had him take those to the nursing home either to hang in patients' rooms or use as they play all kinds of games there. So he told him, he's like, do whatever, use them as prizes to give away, or let the residents have them in their rooms, whatever. So just to kind of, I needed to get rid of some more, and I had done a couple of sale shows that I still had plenty. So yeah, Hobby Lobby has tons of them. So I think I'm pretty well. It is kind of harder to see on this dark paper, or the background, but I think I pretty well might have it. I think I missed going around this dark spot around her mouth. I mostly just try to make sure I got all the important parts, like her eyes and her ears, her mouth, because then if you forget one of those, it's so hard to line this back up. I am going to go ahead and trace these shadows, though, just because, again, I don't want to try to line it back up later, because we are going to kind of paint these shadows in a little bit. I'm going to kind of make it a different shape than my other one. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so we're done with the tracing of that. So like I said, it's really hard probably for you guys to see on here. I don't know that you can see it until I start painting over it. So, oh yeah, I donate stuff when I, because I like to keep my inventory fresh and new. And so if I get stuck with something for a while, I'll just, either, if I don't put it like quote unquote on sale, to try to get rid of it, then I'll just donate it. There's lots of places up here that we can donate to. And there's so many residents in those nursing homes that don't have family, or that, they just don't have family. It's not that their family doesn't come. They just don't have any family. And so I always feel bad for them. So that's what I told my husband when he took him, like, tell them to hang it in patients' rooms that don't have families or something. But essentially he just told him, do whatever you want, because that's fine too. Okay, so I'm only going to do a little bit of this with you guys because it will definitely get kind of boring for you guys to just sit and watch me paint these spots. So I'm just going to do a little bit of it just to kind of where you get the feel of it, and it starts to pop, because I don't want you to sit and just watch me paint all these spots, because it does take a little bit of time. But then I also want to show you another technique that I use on this. So but then I can go back and paint the spots like later tonight or another time. So I'm using this azure. It's a really, really dark blue. It almost looks black, but it's a really dark navy. It's an Yvette Saint Amant color. So that's the color I'm using. And I'm using this really fine liner brush. I have some that are even more fine, but it doesn't need to be on this one. So first I'm just going to kind of go around the outside of the leopard, because that will be, I mean, I would have the outline anyway, but then I kind of know where where all the parts are. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, and then you'll kind of be able to see it really well after I outline around it. Christina, you're the only one watching tonight. I'm sad. Maybe some more people will pop on in a little bit. I'm sure you already have gray paint at home, Christina. You could probably just kind of trial it, the different colors of gray that you already have with white to see which one you feel like works the best. I have found that it doesn't really make a big difference on which shade of gray you use. So the nice thing about this carbon paper not really showing up super dark on my background is if I kind of get out of the lines a little bit, it's not a big deal because you can't really see it anyway. Yeah, there was a second person early, but they didn't hang around long, so they must have just wanted to kind of see what was going on or had something come up, because I did see 2 people originally, but now I don't, so. And that's okay. It's not all about me. People have lives. It's okay. I tried to pick times that were that worked for me, because that's just, you know, that's just how it has to be. And I know the times that work for me don't always work for other people, because I know some people are still working, and so it's the middle of the day. But they can for sure go back and watch the replay. Also, you know, I told you guys yesterday about oh, gray under red. Yeah, that works too. I told you guys yesterday about like after the first live, someone else joined, like paid her $5 and everything, but she's never accepted the invite to the group. So I don't know if because I sent it via email and I sent it through Messenger, because sometimes if, you know, you're not Facebook friends with somebody, the messages will go in the like message request folder, and like I'm really bad at checking that sometimes. So I thought since I had her email too, because she joined my wait list as well, I sent her an email thinking, oh, that way at least if she doesn't see it through Messenger, she'll see it. She will see it in her email, but she's never joined, and I feel really bad. Like I said, she paid the $5 and everything. So I don't know, I might email her again just to, hey, did you see that I sent you the link of an invite? But I'm going to paint some of these spots down here, because that's where we're going to be working with the other little thing I wanted to show you that we're going to do. So I am going to paint some of these spots at the bottom. Like I said, I'm not going to paint very many of them because it would just get super boring. So, and just listening to me ramble on while I'm painting without showing you some other stuff. So tomorrow I'll be back at 11. I do plan to open up my cart after my first live tomorrow. So, you know, sometime between noon and 1, whenever I get done tomorrow. I don't really know how long that one will take me. But then I'm going to open up the cart for you guys to subscribe if you want to, and I will give you the discount code that you need tomorrow during that 11 o'clock live. I did decide that I'm going to give a little bit of a discount on the virtual one too, just like a $2 discount. Just because I thought, well, there might be some people who want it virtual, and it's not really fair to not offer them a discount. So I think I'm going to offer like a $2 discount on the virtual one even, just to be nice. So, but I'll have the 2 discount codes for you during the 11 o'clock live, and then I'll open the cart and I'll give the link for that in the comments as well. So I'm super excited. I have, you know, I've mentioned multiple times I only have 20 boxes. And I mean, I'm nervous both ways. I'm nervous that I'll go through my 20 boxes and there'll still be people wanting to subscribe. And I just can't offer more than 20 this first go around until I kind of see how I can manage doing, you know, because I'm packaging them all myself, and you know, the first time I did my packaging, I'm like, oh, this takes a lot longer than I thought. But then I'm also afraid I won't get rid of them all. So it's kind of a anxiety for both directions, honestly. I really thought there would be more people that joined the workshop just to kind of feel it out, but because there was probably 20 or so that put interested, but then 7 changed theirs to going, but then I ended up having 12 people that paid. So, but again, there's only been 4 people. That's the most I've had watching. So I don't know. I just don't know. It's always so hard to figure out, you know, what people are thinking. I talked to my mom twice because she kept saying she was so excited to do the workshop and this and that and this and that. And she put, you know, interested in the comments on the, or the, you know, checked the interested box, however that is on your event page. And then she changed it to going, I think. And I was like, so are you going per se or not? Because you've never paid the fee or joined, you know, to be able to get into the private group. And she goes, oh yeah, I am. And then she just never, I think she just changed her mind because she just never, but I think she forgets too, because she texted me on Saturday and she's like, can I call you for a minute? I have a question. And I was like, no, Mom, I'm at my art show. Like, I can't talk to you on the phone right now. And she goes, oh, I forgot. So I think that she does forget sometimes too. But she, even when, you know, like, she just likes watching me paint. Not necessarily, like, I don't care one way or the other if she joins my group, but she just really likes watching me paint. So she probably would totally just pay the fee just to watch me paint. Okay, so that's all I'm going to paint on these. And then I'm going to show you, like I said, because I'll go back and I'll paint all this just off camera, because you could sit and watch me do this forever and it just would get really boring. But the other thing I wanted to show you is how the reason I didn't go all the way to the bottom with my leopard guy here is this is a trick that I got from another person. Let me put I'm going to scoop my excess paint back in here really quick because I'm not going to need it for a while and I don't want to waste it. Okay. So this is the same color paint in this little squeeze bottle. I took these to a painting retreat that I did, so I put this tape on here so the lid wouldn't pop off. But I got these little squeeze bottles and I put the same color paint in here and mixed it with some like Liquitex gel medium, and it makes it like a little more runny. So then you can take this squirt bottle. I'm going to turn this way, hopefully you can see it. And since it's the same color, you can just put some on here. Hopefully it'll, I think I might not have it runny enough because I had trouble with it the last time, kind of running down my page. It wouldn't, so I'm just going to squirt some on these little dots that I have down here, the leopard spots. And then I'll kind of show you. So if it's more liquidy, like if I had more, I think the first, when I mixed the bottle, I had too much paint and not enough Liquitex gel medium in it. So I'm just gonna drop some drips on here of water and kind of make those drip down the page a little bit. You can kind of use your brush a little bit to help it get started. But the advantage to using the paint with the gel medium is it kind of stays dark and it doesn't get diluted. But since I'm having to use this water to kind of get it moving, it will be diluted a little bit. And what I like to do with my drippings is I like for them to be different so see how that's doing a drip effect there? I just kind of hit my paper on the desk here. But I like for them to be different widths, not widths, lengths down the page. So sometimes I'll take my brush and I'll just kind of guide it down a little bit just so they're different. Especially since this is a thicker medium. And then those two run together, which I'm totally okay with. But this just creates some more, oh gosh, my words are not coming to me tonight. Some more interest and movement to the painting. So I don't have the original to be able to ask. You might not even have noticed it on the first one. But yeah, I just need to add more liquid to this squirt bottle and then it'll work. Like you're supposed to be able to squirt it on and then it just kind of slowly runs down. But like I said, I think I have too much paint and not enough gel medium in my bottle. Let me get the bottle really quick just so you guys can see what it looks like. Because it is a gel or a medium too, but it's different than like the gel medium that we use for the Mod Podge. So this is the Liquitex brand and it's just called matte medium, but it's like it's runny. You can hear it sloshing around in there. So that's what I got. And then I just got these little squirt bottles off of Amazon, I think, because I wanted to make sure they had a lid. A lot of the ones that you get for like tie-dye and such, they don't have a little lid on them. So I wanted to make sure I got some with these little lids because I didn't want them to come loose and squirt everywhere. And then if I take them somewhere, I always make sure to put this this piece of tape back over the cap so it doesn't come off. So that is that. I'm gonna set this aside. This has to dry because it stays wet for a really long time with that matte medium in there. And then I'll go through and I'll paint my leopard all up before we come live tomorrow, just so you guys can see it. And we'll do the shadow part just because I mix a little bit of white in that azure so it lightens it a little bit. And then we'll be all finished with this one. So for the rest of the time tonight, I'm gonna work on Our Lady portrait because I just love it. So I've got these blues out here that I haven't used yet. So I'm gonna start with this Wisteria blue and just kind of go to town painting her. All right, let's find the brush that I want to use. I like using, like my favorite type of brush is called a filbert, which is, I don't know if you can see, they're rounded at the end. So they're like a flat brush and then they have a little roundness to the end of the bristles. Let's see if I have another one. I'm gonna grab a bigger one just so you can see. So you can see, let me grab a paper towel that's something darker. So you can see they're kind of rounded on the ends. That's my favorite kind of brush to use, and I have them in all sizes. But I have this little one, and that's what I've been using for this portrait. And I really, it just, because you can get into the curves, but then you can kind of keep it straight too. So I'm going to paint her around. Cheekbone here. Do some more of her hair. I think what I decided to do with her also, you can kind of give me your thoughts, Christina, is this is all blue, obviously, and then I'll probably save that azure, that dark blue, that'll be like the outer, like the stencil again, and that'll really make it pop. But I think what I was thinking is I think I might do her lips red, like where they just really pop out of the blue. And that would be the only thing not a shade of blue, but I think it would be really neat looking. So what do you think about that? Do you think yes, or do you think are all monochrome, stick with all monochrome? I just think that would be really cool looking. And I didn't think of it till last night. I was just thinking about something and I was like, oh, that might be really cool with her lips painted red. Did you get the face portrait stencil? I think I did. I think I remembered. I think that's why I was thinking about and thought of her red lips was I was searching. You remember when I did my, because I told you it just kind of popped up and I was like, oh, those are cool. It wasn't something I was searching for. But you remember the last art box giveaway I did? The girl that wanted that, she wanted music notes and skulls on her box, and I knew I had a template of a hand painted skull that I could use, but I also used for skull stencils first, and when I typed in like skull stencils, these came up, and even though it wasn't what I was looking for, I was like, oh, I'm gonna add those to cart because those are really cool. So I'm pretty sure I got them on Amazon, Christina, so I bet you can find them there. I also think, like I said, I'm gonna maybe come up with some sort of project, maybe not this same project, but a project that we would do in my subscription box group where I could include them because they're just so fun. So now I'm going to, yeah, I think the idea of the red lips is kind of fun. So I think I might do that. Where do I want this stripe to be? I don't want it to be too close to that. I think I'm just going to make it over here. Sometimes picking where I want the stripe to be is the biggest challenge because you just don't know. I should go across the top all of my blues, like where I want them. That way when I'm painting with them, I wouldn't have to decide where I want them. But that's kind of like one of those hindsight things. You know, you don't think of it when you're doing it, but you think of it later and you go, oh, why didn't I do that? I'm super excited because after my workshop is over on Wednesday, then I'm going to spend part of Thursday working on the portraits that I have drawn out from Yvette's classes. Because like I said, I went through and I drew them all out with pencil because that's kind of what she what she does as the first step. But I went through and picked all the ones I liked and drew them all out. So all I would have to do is just sit and paint. And so I'm really excited about getting to those because I have so many of her classes and I haven't completed them all, but they're all so fun. And she's really fun too. I kind of chuckle at her. She's from Canada, and I chuckle sometimes at the different usages of words and different pronunciations of things. Just like Louise asking about the Cardinals here versus the Robins in the UK. You just don't think about that, but I use wonky a lot. Something's wonky. That's just the word I use. My husband says it's not even a word, and I say, look it up in the dictionary because it is. But she uses wabi-sabi. That's her word, wabi-sabi. It's very wabi-sabi. And it's just, every time I hear her say it, it's just hilarious because I'm like, where did this word come from? I don't know if it's a Canadian thing or if it's her own, like she came up with it all on her own. But every time she says it in a class, I just crack up. And then the other thing that's different is, so the pinkish color that we call mauve, M-A-U-V, she calls it mauve. And the first time she said it, I was like, what color is she talking about? And then when she put it out on her paper, I was like, I bet she's saying mauve, but it's just the difference in the way she pronounces it versus the way I'm used to hearing it. So I had to chuckle about that too. And I think with having several different members. Oh yes, you need to look her up. She has lots of fun classes. And it's Yvette. Let me see. I don't know if you can see the YVETTE. Saint Amant is her last name. ST.AMANT. She has a lot of fun classes. She does a lot of pattern classes too, because that's how she, that's like her livelihood is patterns. So she will paint patterns and people, what's the word? She works with retailers and they buy her patterns basically. That's how she got started. But she has a lot of different classes. Like I said, she has the patterns, she has the portrait classes. She has another one that looks really fun. I bought it, but I haven't done it yet. It's another portraits, and this is what reminds me of it is they're influenced by Matisse and Picasso. So it'll have like a very abstract background, and then the face will just be lines. And that's what these photos remind me of that a lot. And I saw a shirt on actually a teacher shirt board. It's a Facebook ad, I guess, not, but they have art stuff, and I think that's how come the ad keeps popping up, because they have shirts for basically every teacher, art teacher. And there was one that had a line portrait on it, and I thought of her. I was like, oh, she needs this shirt. And you were an art teacher, right, Christina? Or were you just like a classroom teacher? I don't remember. I thought I saw that you were actually an art teacher. Okay. Oh yeah, you would love a lot of her classes then. The patterns and tactile stuff. She does a lot of patterns. Um, just she, and they're really fun. Some of them I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird, but when you get done with it, it's so fun. But so I think you'd really like her. And then my daughter-in-law, she's majorly into quilting. She learned to quilt when she was little, and which is kind of funny because my son he loves quilts, and so when they started dating, I was like, oh my gosh, they're two peas in a pod. My grandma, she still quilts at 95, and so he has several of her quilts, and but my son helps her pick the material sometimes. That's like one of the things he gets to do. and and the other thing that she kind of lets him help do is like the piecing, not the piecing, the laying them out on they usually lay out the pieces on the bed. There's their bedroom, and so she'll lay them out, and then he gets to help her decide if they need to be rearranged or whatever. So it's kind of funny how she does all of the work basically, but she lets him help do some things. Art teacher for the last 18 years. Yeah, cool. I thought that I saw you were art teacher, but I couldn't remember. So this color, again, I really like this color. It doesn't have as great of coverage, but it's a blick color, but it's called Blue Violet Deep. And Yvette uses this color a lot, and she also uses, what's the other one that Blue Red Deep, which is a really pretty color too. But especially on this white paper, you need 2 coats. So I did notice on her the first portrait class that she has, she kind of has a list of paints that are closest to the colors of her paints for people who are just starting her classes and don't buy her paints or whatever. So that's helpful too, because a lot of them are the folk art color. Art was my minor in college, but I had to wait for other. Oh, gotcha. I took one art class in college, just because I majored in architecture originally, and but I wanted to do something, more stay creative, but not so stringent like architecture is. And like I said, it was more like a beginning art class, but way more advanced than what I was used to. But the very last project was like, they had a model come in, and like we had to paint a nude picture, and at 19 years old, that just made me really uncomfortable. I was like, yep, I'm done with art. I'm done with college art. So I didn't take any more art classes in college, because it really made me uncomfortable for some reason. But so this over here is going to be the tricky part, because there's no stencil part over here, and so I think I'm just going to kind of round this here to make it look like the bone of her eyebrow. And like that, because I know this part of this eyelash is thicker than what I drew it, so part of that will be covered up. So all of this turning that I'm doing. That's usually what I'm doing with a palette knife, is turning it every which way, trying to get the best angle. So it was really awkward for me not to be able to do that today when I was painting, because I'm just used to turning the page or the canvas, whichever I am working on. So yeah, I was totally shocked. There was no preparation for having to do that. Like on the syllabus, I don't even remember what the lesson was, but it might have just been like pencil art or something, because it was in pencil. But there was no indication at all on the syllabus that that's what it was going to be, or I probably would have just skipped class that day had I known in advance, which is probably why the art teacher didn't put it on the syllabus, because she knows, like, unless you're really into art and really want to do portraits and that sort of thing, a lot of people probably would have skipped class. There was one guy that, because it was a male, one guy that just, like, as soon as he found out what was going on, he got up and left, and she's like, "Excuse me," and he just kept walking. It's like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I'm not going to leave now, but I mean, because that would make me more uncomfortable. But yeah, it was not the most comfortable. But we did have the kind of the same little lap easel that I have now, like the clipboard with the clip on it, even though I don't use the clip of mine. So I clipped my paper on it, and then I just kind of held it in front of me at the right angle where I didn't really have to look at him very much. So all right, I'm not going to paint the second coat of this color. I'm just going to kind of move on. Again, that's something that I can do when you guys aren't watching, because you don't want to have to sit and watch me do the same thing. So I'm just going to get another color here and do some more. Because working on this is the last thing for tonight. I just wanted to get her mostly complete tonight. So I'm gonna put that there. Now I need, let's see, what color do I want? I think I'm gonna use, this is Mediterranean, which is the same color that I used for the stripes on the crackle painting. So it's just another blue. I've been putting the blues back as I use them, so I don't use the same one twice, because I could see where I would do that too. I'm gonna paint the stripe first, just because I know where I want it, which is right here next to this color. So have you given any more thought, Christina, to launching at the same time as Sarah with all that big group of people? That would be so fun. And you have all kinds of like support and like just an outline of this is what I need to do at the same time Sarah is doing it. That would be really, really beneficial, I think, especially for your first launch. If I already hadn't had everything planned out and, you know, so many of my products already bought, I likely would have done it with everyone also. Just having her walk side by side while you're doing that would be very beneficial. Because following her guides is one thing, but, you know, having her come on and say, okay, this week, this is what we're doing, it would be really a really good plan, I think. How long have you been in the Launch Your Box group? Like, did it take you a while to decide what kind of box you wanted to do, or did you always know that you wanted to do a kids art box, since that's what you kind of did? Because I've seen a lot of people recently talking about they have to pivot their box because they think their box idea is not going to be popular or whatever, and I get that. But I also get that pivoting away from what you want to do makes it more difficult for it to be fun for you, I think, too. So, because I was concerned that my idea wouldn't be popular, but I knew this is what I wanted to offer, so I'm like, I'm just going to go with it and see how it goes. But I have seen a lot of people commenting recently that they feel like they need a new idea. I do have other ideas of additional boxes that I want to do, but I don't want to necessarily go away from what I am doing. So you're still thinking about it. Yeah, a lot of classes and stuff in June and July. We all have those excuses sometimes, don't we? I think we all tend to just come up with an excuse sometimes when it's, you know, stressful and we already have a lot going on. So that's normal. I don't think that's a bad reason not to do it because you already have a lot on your plate. And especially if you already have, you know, people signed up to do it, you know, it's not like you can cancel or reschedule if you already have people on the list that signed up to come. So see, I only have 2 colors left, 2 blues left, so I don't think I have any more blues I haven't used. So I think I need to keep painting with this color to get a little bit more don't really know. Maybe, because this whole part underneath her eye, I'm pretty sure is the eyelash. So I'm not even going to paint there, I don't think. Maybe I'll paint under this part just as a separation, because I'm not sure which. I'm just really not sure now without looking. Yeah, that whole section is just eyelash. Last fall, technically, like technology challenge, me too. But I just had to sit and just kind of go through the videos over and over and over, trying to figure it out. And then I found like Sarah's lessons kind of confused me a little bit because they're so short. But I found the tech talks when she does those with Nicole. If you have Shopify, I don't know which website you chose, but with Shopify, she breaks it down a little better, even though she talks really fast and she moves really fast. I followed along better with that, so that's kind of how I was able to figure some stuff out. And then, of course, ChatGPT is like your best friend when it comes to that stuff. So if you can't figure it out, literally just type the question into ChatGPT and it will give you the answer step by step. That's how I linked I couldn't figure out how to link my bank account to Shopify, where when I get orders, it automatically goes into my business checking. So I just typed it into ChatGPT, like literally, how do I link my business banking account to my Shopify or whatever, and it broke it down step by step, and it was very easy to follow. So yeah, if you have Wix, I'm sure you could do, because when she does the tech talks, it's always Nicole for Shopify, and then there's two different girls, depending on which time frame it is, that she talks about for the Wix and WooCommerce. So you can get assistance both ways. So I am going to stop for the night since it's just the two of us. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this aside for a second. I am going to get what the prizes for today are, because I already had them picked out. And I'm going to let you just pick which one you want. And I'll save the others for tomorrow. Since you're the only one here, because I don't think I had any new comments on like a replay from earlier today. So hang on a sec. Let me get that. Yes, definitely use ChatGPT. It will help you a lot, because like I said, it breaks it down step by step. I use it for my emails a lot too. So what I do is I write out my email, okay, I'll save them, but I really, okay. Anyway, but what I did was I wrote out my email, like what I wanted to say in each email, and then I copy and paste it, like in ChatGPT, I'll say, please help me with email copy for whatever I'm doing. And then if you want them to use puns, they will. They used a lot of puns in mine because I was like, I want it to be kind of quirky a little bit. But anyway, then I put email copy, a quote, pasted my email there, end quote. and literally it takes seconds for them to come back with a rewritten email. And it is your own words. Still, they just change it up to where it's more grammatically flows better. And when inserting the puns, they just do a much better job than me trying to do that on my own. So, but yeah, try it. Just like try, even just with an email, like start an email that you want to send out to your email list and write it out like in your own. I know some people use it just to completely write their email, and that's fine too. So I like to use my own words and then have them kind of tweak it a little bit. But yeah, try that and just see how you like it. But you can literally type anything in there. My son used it for what their kids might look like. I'm like, oh my God, don't do that, because then you're just going to make me want grandkids. But so he had to send me the picture. Like, this is what ChatGPT thinks our kids will look like. So that was kind of funny, but thanks for watching, Christina. It's always fun chatting with you, and I hopefully will see you tomorrow at 11. Good night.